Discipleship isn't always easy, as the Apostle Peter would probably agree. In today's gospel, he has the brilliant answer, followed later by a comment that promptly gets him into trouble with Jesus. Peter, as he is often portrayed in these biblical sound bites, seems to blurt out what's on his mind without always thinking it through. I feel some sympathy for him, and I believe we can all relate to this. None of us is immune to misspeaking or saying the wrong thing, or even saying the right thing, but at the wrong time. Language and how we use it is both a blessing and a potential pitfall. Likewise, a soundbite can be something that exhibits our momentary brilliance or immortalizes our folly. What we say, even in little segments, and how we say it, matters in everyday life and in discipleship. This was highlighted for my husband Vic and me early on in our parenting adventures. Our oldest, Alex, was about 3 and was serving as a mechanic's apprentice while Vic was trying to repair a bicycle. Alex was eager to help his dad and enthusiastic as only a preschooler can be. And then when Vic ran into some frustration with the project, there was some colorful language. Alex promptly applied that same enthusiasm to expanding his vocabulary and exhibiting his new skills. A soundbite that now comes back 20 plus years later to haunt Vic in the form of being a sermon illustration. Even when we may be speaking only for ourselves or to ourselves, those soundbites matter. Our reading today from James really drives this point home. James compares the tongue to a rudder that steers a ship much larger than itself, or the small fire that soon spreads to the whole forest and wreaks havoc. This imagery is particularly apt with the summer we've had with all the fires out west. It doesn't take much for such fires to rage out of control. Some are set by accident or by natural events like lightning, and others are set intentionally. The devastation wrought and the effort expended to control them is the same regardless of the source, though. But no one can tame the tongue, a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With it we bless the Lord and Father, and with it we curse those who are made in the likeness of God. This isn't easy to hear. We might think, that's not me, I don't do that. Do I? But we do. Earlier in this same reading, James says, for all of us make many mistakes. And he's right, we all do this, because we're all human and we're all flawed. We get it right some of the time and have our brilliant sound bites, and we all have those sound bites we wish had never been uttered or shared. So what's a would-be Christian disciple to do? Do we just throw our hands up and chalk it all up to our fallibility? This is, of course, not what I'm going to suggest. Though it's oftentimes easier to pretend we didn't screw up than to set it right. And sometimes we can't set it right. But we can begin again. We can, as one of the many sayings or sound bites we find floating around in social media says, be the change we wish to see. You see, it's easy to share or pass on the little soundbite that we feel reflects our Christian values. But when we don't actually then try to live into those values, they become like rudders that are no longer connected to the ship, and they don't steer it anywhere. If our efforts to welcome others at church are just a superficial soundbite and not followed up with genuine fellowship, we miss the mark in both relationship and discipleship. If we allow our anger with or fear of those we disagree with to guide our conversations and our social media activity, we fall from blessing into cursing those who share with us the wonder of being made in the image of God. This doesn't just hurt the recipient of our negative sound bites, it also hurts us, because we are called to discipleship, to sharing with others the love that our Savior Jesus Christ has shared with us. We know when we fall short, and while we also know forgiveness, still hurts to acknowledge that we haven't lived up to our discipleship. If you ever use the practice of the daily office, found in our prayer book beginning on page 37 if you're a traditional language aficionado, or page 75 if you lean more modern, you'll find yourself saying confession multiple times a day. That might seem excessive. After all, just how much sin can we get into in a typical day? If we think just of sin as the big mistakes, all this confession might seem like it is unnecessary. Yet we all make a lot of little missteps in a day, known and unknown. Like the sparks that give life to the forest fire, we leave a trail of seemingly innocuous actions and sound bites behind us that might just contain a few sins or shortcomings of discipleship. When we consider this, it's nice to know that confession isn't just a one-time thing. It's a reminder that we are fallible and that we can and should try again. That we should seek both forgiveness and reconciliation. I'd like to leave you with a little soundbite from the Psalms that I think can help us all as we strive to live into our discipleship in relationship with our family and friends, with our parish family, and with the wider world. It's the last verse of Psalm 19, and I'm going to ask you to open your prayer books to page 607. And we'll say this last verse of Psalm 19 together. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength